What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Scale News Update. If you're not familiar with the show, this is where we talk about the news topics that happen in the scale world of RC over the past week. If you enjoy the Scale News Update regularly, hit the like button, and let's jump into this week's topics. First for this week, new limited release from Reefs RC, an orange version of the Raw 500. Now, there's a number of Raw 500 versions, and I don't cover most of them, except this one that's orange. So, obviously understand why, but yeah, they do a limited release of some of these servos every once in a while in several colors. They've done pink and red, blue, orange now, maybe a purple. I'm not sure about that one. I might be making that up in my own head, but either way, if you're interested, maybe it fits a build, it's your favorite color, whatever it may be, it's available. It's on the website, and there'll be a link in the description below, as well as links to all of the stories that we talk about today. Next, for those of you that are Axial CJ7 owners, one right over there, Knight Customs just posted up a teaser of his new full interior that he's doing for that. Super nice drop down, full depth, full driver seat situation. The Axial CJ7 came with a Lexan interior that was nicely detailed. One of the best looking interiors Axial has ever done out of the box. I think that whole truck is one of their best looking that they've ever done. But this is going to be a next level of detail to that. You're going to be able to have driver figure or figures, both. You could do printed or you could just do empty seats and add your own super WWE guy or whatever you use for that. But either way, not available yet. Knight Customs is now running everything through their own website, knightcustoms.com. Previously, that was just a landing page, which then took you to either Shapeways or My Mini Factory. But we covered this some weeks back. Knight Customs has relaunched their whole thing, their whole deal. They're also licensing prints. So if you don't have a printer, and when this comes out and you want to pick this up, you're gonna be able to get it from a number of licensed commercial printers of Knight Customs parts. So something to watch out for if you've got one of those, never felt like diving into 3D printing. I think you're gonna be able to find these pretty accessibly to that. So as this project progresses a little bit further, we'll touch back on it. Obviously, Knight Customs has been doing some crazy stuff with interiors these days, and I think this one will be right there with them. Next, Biddy Designs is teasing a new body launch. This is coming this month in October, and it's a Subaru-esque 1/7 scale body. So made for the ARMA Infraction, Felony, or Limitless platform. Not 100% sure which one, as they have, some different features or staggers between the different platforms, but not WRX because it looks like a two-door. So maybe, I don't know, just regular Impreza. 2.5 RS was the old school one, right? I don't know. I'm not really sure I don't know my Subarus all that well, but I do know that this thing looks pretty cool. So I could see how that's going to be a wanted body. Maybe that's for you. Maybe not, but maybe you're a glutton for punishment no matter the scale, and this looks to be right up your alley. If so, this is going to be coming probably in the next couple of weeks here, and we'll definitely touch back on it once we see the full photos for the release of this body. This weekend, I launched my latest build-along project. This is going to be a ProMod based project, and I put up the announcement video on Saturday, and then spots went up for sale on Sunday. It was super short notice, and I apologize for that. I did put up a video in advance and a community post, Facebook post, Instagram post, trying to get everybody some heads up, but because of the shortness of my own deadline, I felt like I needed to get this going as soon as possible. And it did sell out on the first day. However, I did hold back a small number of spots as like a perk to channel members who weren't able to get in. Now there is a limited number to that, and I'll kind of go through some of those details in After News Delight, which, speaking of channel membership, if you're interested in channel membership, help support the channel a little bit extra, and you also get some extra just behind the scenes video. I also do After News Delight, which is an extension of the Scale News Update, where I just go a little bit more in depth to each of the topics without having to try and edit it down to something super concise and interesting to watch. I don't have to worry about that at all. But if you're interested in some of that extra detail, or possibly one of those last chance spots to the build along, you can check that out. There'll be a link in the description below where you can find out all of the details. Praise Wheel, the series where Matt and I have taken H10 optics and we're building them and upgrading them by direction of a wheel that gives us terrible tasks each week that we have to accomplish for the build. Now, this week, Matt was supposed to be gone, so we were going to delay the video 1 week. Now, it did turn out that Matt was available this week, but we still decided that we were going to delay this week's video of Praise Wheel by 1 week. So you'll see the next episode of that next week. But you can go catch up on previous episodes if you haven't watched them already. There's been plenty of punishment already. And speaking of Matt, livestream takeover, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, every week, every Wednesday, same time, all the time. Matt and I will be discussing the most recent topics. We will not be eating more ramen noodles this week. We had enough last week. That was a chore and it did not set well. But this week, no noodles. So come check out what we're talking about, random stuff, build along projects, and everything else. Always a great time. I love that show. This came across my inbox this week from Power Hobby, and that is brass F10T leaf spring mounts. Now, these mounts are what appear to be the design of JEC Racing, which basically ceased business over the last handful of months. Now, there was lots of issues with that business and delivery, all of those things. But now through Power Hobby, you can probably, I would assume, reliably get these parts machined and sent to you at a regular, reasonable time. So that if you're interested in getting some leaf spring mounts, this is gonna make it simple. I'm not sure exactly what's all involved with getting these leaf spring ready, at least the truck or whatever it is. But if you got F10Ts, you want to put leaf springs on them. If you must, this appears to be one of the best options to date. So go check them out, powerhobby.com, but there's a link to the exact product below. A couple weeks back, we talked about the new Hobbywing Fusion 16 and the Mini 24, their new brushless systems, one for like the 18th scale called the Fusion Mini 16, whatever. And the Mini 24 system. Now the Mini 24 is not an all-in-one, it's an ESC, and they have a motor as well. I believe you can just get the ESC if you only want you only want that way and you have a different motor that you'd prefer to run. But these are available in stores now. So depending on where you like to shop for Hobbywing, you can pick them up in stock. I've got links to them where you can find them on AMain in the description, but I assume that you'll be able to find them at any of the places that you may like to shop. So cool to see those roll out so quickly. I'm guessing those Mini 16s will become popular. I feel like there's a possibility we'll see those in other applications as well, but once people get more and more testing, the masses start running them, be interested to see how they come out. And then for you Tamiya owners, the Hornet Evo is available. Unboxings are popping up, and from what I'm told, this is the, I guess, like evolution, right? Evo from the original Hornet. Like they've fixed a bunch of the things that had commonly been issues. I'm told that a lot of these fixes are very similar to how Ampro Engineering fixed theirs with their evolution of the Hornet. And now we have the Hornet Evo. Coincidence? You don't see Tamiya going back and fixing things very often, at least in my experience, but maybe on the vintage stuff that's way more common. I don't know. However, I saw that just a lot of people were excited by that release. So, if you want just a better experience to that, maybe you had it in the past, have fond memories, but that you wouldn't actually if you got one of the old ones, maybe this will fix that. So there you go. Vintage Tamiya people rejoice. Maybe? But that does it for this week's news topics. The news has been a little bit light in the last several weeks, or maybe even a little bit longer, which is pretty typical for this time in the year for RC. It's just your slow times through the summer, back to school. People are getting kids back in it. They're buying new clothes and school supplies and laptops and all that stuff that they need for, real life stuff. But pretty common. But we're about to get into the time where it's going to come into the holiday season, the holiday rush. And it's going to be that time where we're going to see, my guess is, some larger new releases come here probably as soon as possible, just because companies usually want these announced and available during, you know, that Black Friday time and things like that. So we only have maybe a few weeks before those things better start dropping and rolling in for people to have those, you know, wild holiday releases that everyone hopes for. And then if they do miss that and things get delayed, we should see quite a bit of movement from then until the end of the year and then through, you know, the beginning part of the following. It's just how it goes every single year. And I don't know what episode of the news this is right now, but I think we're in like the 330s or maybe 340s. So we can see the trends pretty clearly go year after year after year, with that one weird year, and then back to year after year, maybe 2 weird years. You know what I mean? But that's not this week's question. That's just an observation of the market and the timing and things going on in the news. But for this week's question, we talked about that Hornet Evo and kind of that, you know, updated version of something vintage and popular then, or what, you know, maybe. Made me think though, is there anything that you had just this wildly fond memory of having in the past that then you decided to go seek out again and then had a very different experience with it? Whether it be a vintage video game or a vintage RC car, an actual vehicle that, you know, you had and wanted again, something along those lines. Be interested to hear it. Just your thoughts on something that you had before, then decided to get again with a totally different mindset or place in life, whatever it may be. And just how, was it as good as you hoped that it would have been? Way better or way worse? I know which way that it's happened to me a handful of times, and I'll be interested to hear how you guys feel about the same. But with that, that's going to do it for this week's Scale News Update. Thank you again for watching. If you enjoy it, hit the like button. If you're interested in the channel membership, maybe one of those last chance openings for the build along, you can find that information below. Otherwise, drop your comments below. Always appreciate reading them. My favorite part of the Scale News Update. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.